Thanks for joining me on another Bitcoin TA video. Today we're going to tackle the bearish truth about Bitcoin. In this video, I'm going to look at the monthly and the weekly time frame in all of the major indicators, and it really does look terribly bearish. As always, I am super interested in your comments. I would love to hear your view on this really bearish sentiment of Bitcoin chart right now. Leave your comments down below. Come and join us over on our Discord channel and let me know, what are your thoughts on all of this? Let's jump in with the RSI on the monthly time frame to begin with. First of all, I really don't know the future. This isn't financial advice. This is just me benchmarking these technical patterns to see if this really does break these levels, and it gives you a really good clue that the bear market is really coming in. So you can see I'm marking off trend lines in the RSI that when that trend line breaks, the trend is done. We can also see a characteristic of the end of the trend is a large reversal wick candle. And we're seeing those here, those big reversal wick along the top on the monthly time frame. What we got to see for this to verify is that we break below this trend line on the monthly time frame. Let's go into the weekly time frame and start scoping out where those trend lines would be. It could be that we have broken that now. It could be that that trend line is sketchy, and it's going to work its way out. It could be that that trend line is much longer and it's going to be pulling its way back before heading up higher. The main thing to pay attention to that I'm seeing in this time frame is the higher highs and the remarkably lower highs here on this RSI. So we're really either at the very beginning of the stages of this going very much higher, like this, and continuing on, or we have had a major bearish divergence, and that the RSI is going to be bouncing along up and down through these ranges here. Instead of continuing to go up, it's going to make a bounce and break this trend line. That's where we know that we are out of luck and things are really changing direction. I want to go into the daily time frame, and we can see here also that generally in the bull trend, the RSI will come down to these levels, it will consolidate and then continue up as the trend continues. So if we are going to continue, this is where it has to now consolidate and go higher. It didn't break lower here as we're setting up. This is an important divergence that I can see here, where we have the lower lows setting up in this, but we have even lows in the relative strength index. So for me, this is giving a little bit of bullish support right here. And as we'll see when we get into the Bollinger Bands, this is an important candle right now. As we look at the monthly MACD, it still looks like it's in the bull pattern. So long as the MACD hasn't crossed over on the monthly time frame, then the bull trend is done. This was a little bit after the trend was done. So we're still watching for this to close afterwards. It's still good for now. We go into the weekly time frame. Oh, this is crossing right now. When that crosses, the trend generally is done. It's a really important thing that when that crosses, the trend is finished. And let's zoom in on this one right here on this weekly time frame. As we zoom in, we have a high, a lower high, and we've got this MACD crossover just after the break. So if we're setting up for something like that right now, here it is. We've got that divergence. We've got the higher highs, a very strong divergence, and we've got the cross going on. The MACD is really confirming here on the weekly time frame. Going to the daily, it has already crossed negative. We saw the divergence set up here on the daily, and that when the 1, 2, 3 set up here, we saw the MACD cross negative on the daily time frame, and down we went. This coincided exactly with the Ichimoku Cloud 12-hour crossover as well. Very, very interesting to see how these are lining up. As we zoom in, the 12-hour is also just on the edge of crossing into bearish territory. With that crossover and fading off from here, it would be confirming bearish moves right from this spot right here. I'm zooming in a little bit, trying to take a look at the same divergence that we saw in the RSI, that the 4-hour MACD is also giving a little bit of a positive bullish divergence. with this reversal wick candle setting up right now, this could be the last vestige of hope for the bulls right there, hanging on by the fingernails. Let's go on. Here we are looking at the monthly volume, and I don't know how important this is, but I want to compare that we had much less volume at the second top. Really, I think it's a key thing. This is the Bitcoin versus USD market. Here's the Bitcoin futures market. Again, it showed much the same thing here. Higher volume, lesser volume. So that's showing weakness here on that move. Really, I just love to see that it's confirming again here in the Bitcoin USDT market. Same thing where we're seeing strength and then much less strength here. That's very bearish for our setup overall. That really leads me to a bearish sentiment. Now, when I go into the Ichimoku Cloud on the monthly time frame, we've got a long ways. We could go sideways for a year and a half before this actually starts to affect this indicator at all. So let's go on to the weekly time frame. Again, we could go sideways for quite a ways before this is affected by the weekly time frame. We're still in a bullish stance and it lets a lot of flexibility. The daily, however, is not so good. We have come in through the cloud. We've really got to consolidate and get up off this cloud and go. Otherwise, once we get down below this cloud, it's bear zone. Right? Once we come into this cloud and we don't make it out, it's bear zone. We came into that cloud, we did a similar move here, and we were able to bounce up out of it. Now that we have this reversal candle, maybe we'll get up into that cloud a little bit, and we're still going to be watching for the 1, 2, 3 formation and a sell opportunity. If it does come up into here, I am looking for a sell opportunity. I want Bitcoin to go up to the moon, but I definitely am going to be looking for a 1, 2, 3 top formation up around these zones. In our Discord community, we get an alert every time the Ichimoku Cloud crosses over on the 12-hour time frame. So each time we see that, we can come to the charts, double check that we are getting a 1, 2, 3 formation. We're getting the crossover and a breakout. Really got to go along with it. 1, 2, 3 top formation, getting a crossover and a breakdown. Really got to go along with it. Now, when we go into the Bollinger Bands here on the monthly time frame, still in a bull trend according to the Bollinger Bands. The weekly time frame, we're still in a bull trend. We're up above the midline. We're well above that 200 period moving average. So everything is still in the bull trend in this time frame. When we go into the daily, we have crossed underneath that midline of the 20 period moving average. And we're coming down to test the 200 period simple moving average. So being sandwiched in between those on the 12-hour time frame, we're really coming to a decision point. Breaking further below that and confirming from underneath is really bearish, and I would expect that we're going to continue going down further. When we get into the 4-hour time frame, this is where the Bollinger Bands really stand out and shine for me. Once they move outside that third standard deviation, that second band, and then they pull back in, often this wick is a hint of a reversal pattern going on, and it's actually what's called a mean reversion buy signal in the chart right there. So the other charts, the other indicators aren't giving us this inside information that the Bollinger Band does. Let's see how this plays out over the next while. And I want to look back and see, is this it? Is the entire bull market balancing on this mean reversion trade signal right here? That would be really fantastic. And now let's finish up with some fancy chart chopping. Let's imagine that these big candles here up on the top really do mean that we've come to a top formation and that we're going to be going through some difficulty for the next while. I'm going to do some chart chopping, and let's say that I can take this price from over here and move it all the way along until it breaks up above that right there. We'll take that price and we're going to move it over now. Let's make a copy of it. Copy, paste, and we'll take the copy and we're going to move it over and stick it onto our high price here. And you might look at this and say to yourself, you know, if we did stay in this range, it might not be all that terrible, you know, coming down to 52 and then working our way sideways for a lot. But the important thing about this chart is that it must be viewed in logarithmic. When I do this in log view, it's entirely different. It really shows that we could be coming down and retesting $20,000, $10,000. It's absolutely nasty and terrible. what could come up out of this chart. And there's no way to really know, but having this view in the long term could be really helpful, because we can make money in any direction that the market's going. If it is going to be making a top formation and coming down, being all bullish is not going to be helpful for us. We're probably going to lose a lot of money. A lot of people got wrecked trying to go bullish off of this top, expecting that we were going to get the very same pattern as we did in 2017. But we see that we had the major divergences, the bearish divergences off of these two tops. We do have the 1, 2, 3 tops. It is building and growing. If we do have the RSI break its structure, if we have the MACD cross over on the weekly and continue on a downtrend from there, if we have the Ichimoku break lower on the daily time frame, and we have the Bollinger Bands cross bearish on the weekly, all of those things are going to suggest that we should be in cash right now, or we should be shorting this market. As always, I am super interested in your comments. I would love to hear your view on this really bearish sentiment of Bitcoin chart right now. Leave your comments down below. Come and join us over on our Discord channel and let me know, what are your thoughts on all of this? And that's a wrap for the bearish truth of Bitcoin prices. If you like this, hit the thumbs up button, hit the subscribe button, share this video with somebody who might be interested. Trade safe and keep those losses small.